here, but I do want to welcome everybody to the call. I know a lot of us just got off of a call, so welcome back. Um, I want to wish everybody a wonderful and productive new year. In the new year, it's always about goals, trying to achieve goals, and our goal is to help you reach yours. So a lot of new faces, a lot of old faces, and I just want to welcome everybody into the new year. For those of you that do not know, for the month of January, we are going to be having guest speakers. And this month, this theme of this year is just all about accountability, right? And one of those things that's so important is really understanding how to operate in our lead system and really how to be a true final expense specialist, right? Really understanding our role so that we can now take accountability of our conversion rate, right? Believe it or not, guys, we all get the same activity, the same leads. It's how we react and maneuver that makes the difference. Tonight, we have the pleasure, we have the distinct honor of having one of the top agents and top managers in the country to be your guide for tonight. So today I do ask us to be respectful. If we're in a position, let's come off of our cameras just so we are in position and we are definitely giving the attention to our guest speaker. Let me just give you a little bit of background about this young lady here. She did not start in insurance. She didn't. She actually had a six-figure job already before she even found this opportunity. But is a difference between six figures and being behind the ball and no time, and making multiple six figures and having the time. So she needed an opportunity. Long story short, she found this and literally worked her way up. Despite the odds, despite the personal issues, the health issues, and everything that we all have going on, she found a way to stake her claim in this business and has really earned the right of being one of the baddest trainers and managers in the industry. Her numbers speak for herself. And I'll let her get into that story, but I want you to know tonight's speaker is highly, highly qualified to relay this information. So the way we're going to do it, she's going to come on and kind of give what she has been, called and whatever in her spirit is to train on. And there will be a Q&A session at the end. So please hold your questions. We will make sure that we actually go into some Q&As. But without further ado, I definitely want to introduce Ms. Cherie Buckman. Thank you so much for your time. The stage is yours.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, Ms. Cherie.
Happy New Year, Cherie.
Happy New Year.
Hey, isn't it a blessing? We all are here in itself. If you woke up, and we all did, because we're all on here, and took one breath, God gave us another chance for another opportunity. And I believe that, and I've always said this to myself, and Jeff was right. I was making six figures, but I wasn't happy there. I wanted to be a trainer, and they kept holding me back. They wanted me to manage and transfer skills, which I was good at doing and training, so I can help AT&T make the money. So when I found this, I actually was getting ready. I was going to do insurance part-time. I actually went to Primerica, got my license again because it was my second time getting my license, and I was going to do Primerica just part-time. All they wanted me to do is recruit. Okay, I was bringing them in front of people of all cultures, and and this is not to put anyone down, when are you going to put me in front of people that look like us? What do you mean? I'm looking at all cultures. All cultures need this. And so even in that, I was introduced to Rodney Richburg when they had just started telesales almost 9 years ago. I've been here almost 8. They had a couple people and that was it. So this coming in the beginning, just seeing where we come from and getting to where we're at now, it's a beautiful thing. The people that are just coming in, this is perfect for you. You get to bypass everything that I had to go through and struggle in, and not knowing how this was going to work. So Jeff asked me to come on, and I appreciate you, Jeff, and Clyde. I know Shamika and Deb coming up in management. I appreciate all of you guys for having me here today. And I'm just going to kind of just talk to you. I just want to do a chat session. I know Deb asked me that I need to share. We're just going to do a chat session today. I'm going to talk about how I came up. I think, and this is not putting anything down, but I think we got away from how we came up, how Bree came up, how Moses came up. Shamika's been here a long time, how she came up, how Jeff have come up from the very, very beginning. It's time for us to go back. So I'm gonna ask all of you a question. You don't have to answer. I just want you to think about it. Remember when you were getting ready to graduate from high school? Who was excited about that day? Because man, I tell you, when I wanted to get out of high school, I ain't got to go to school no more. Now, if I was going to college, I was great. If you went to college, I was great. You couldn't wait for that day when you graduated. You got your associate or bachelor or a master. Who got excited about that day? Because now I don't have to go to school. Let me go and make me some money, put that in my pocket. But what if I told you, if I told all of you guys, if you guys go back and you had to go back to kindergarten, but it's going to put 6 figures in your pocket quicker than later, who would all go back and sit and know I got to go through 12 years, 13 if you count kindergarten of school, who would all go back? I'm just asking. If I can guarantee you, if you go back to kindergarten, you will make 6 figures. And we're in January this year. Who would all go back? I don't see no hands up.
I
I
would.
see one.
I got a hand up.
Everybody. Okay, I see 2. I see 3. I'm being real. This is not a joke. If that can get you 6 figures, how many people will go back to kindergarten? I should see everybody's hands up.
My hand is up. My hand is up. You
I'm
can't
gonna
see
be
it. It's
real.
up.
If their hand is not up, if they're like, oh, I want to do it, then they may. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's gonna be harder than the norm to get there. Okay, we're gonna talk about going back to basics. Okay, and I think I don't know if I know Jeff said he'd been talking about it, but it's real. Let me tell you, when I came up in this business, we got all these leads. We getting all these special leads now. We're being sought out by Lincoln. The #1 final expense company is seeking out this little telesales agency. I'm not talking about Universal Benefits, Dr. Wilson. I'm not talking about JR, all these IMOs in all these 49 states. I'm talking about this little telesales agency, the Beta Pilot for call center leads, all these different leads, transfers, automatically coming. They're about to hype it up even more. But what is the point of hyping it up? We get excited on transfer day because we're going to get transfers and we're going to get households possibly, and we get excited about that day. But if you can't close or your conversion rate is low, what are we doing? We still paying for those transfers. It's just like a regular lead. And if our skills aren't there and our conversion rate is low, then it's a possibility that I may not be able to participate, or I'm just spending money. Now, if for me, if I got to go back to kindergarten, because I'm not trying to pay, I got 15 leads, $519. I'm not trying to give nobody $519. And I'm not getting nothing out of it because I'm just going through the motions, make a couple calls, put that lead because no one, then I'm calling Jeff or calling Shamika or calling Clyde or someone, and I'm saying no one's answering the calls. No one's answering the phone. Well, let me tell you guys right now, that's normal. If you guys been watching and Rodney put out, I have a new person that came on my team, James Newton. He started on making calls on December 12th. He wrote $8,400 in 2 weeks. Okay. He was saying the same thing in the beginning. I told him, oh, that's normal. He said, what do you mean? Oh, that's normal. Calls are, you're going to call, you're going to call, you're going to call, and you're going to call, and they're not going to answer the phone. Or, oh, finally someone got on the phone and I went through the presentation and they told me I want to think about it. Or they just said, no, that's too expensive. Then I let it go, and then I go into my mind in my head and I walk away from the computer or the phone, and I don't even want to make no more calls because I finally got someone after making 30 calls and that person told me no. So now this don't work. Or those leads are no good. Those leads are bad. These leads I paid for that had no phone number, all these different things. It's normal. I'm here to tell you it's normal. Now, we tell you on the opportunity meeting, we want you to make 80 to 100 calls. But let me tell you, when I was coming up, I was making 200 to 300 calls a day. I might get a couple people answer the phone. There have been days no one answered the phone. I left messages because I was working what we call older leads. And I still thank God, and I actually thank Rodney for letting me grow up that way. I didn't know what a new lead was until I was here 9 months. Didn't get them. He gave me all kind of leads that were 6 months old, a year old. I was getting told, jump in the lake, all these different things. Don't call my house, take me off the list. All these different things I was getting told. And I could have been that one that said no. Actually, I was that one that said no. Actually, I had that moment. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I had the moment when I literally quit the other job and came over, did well my first full-time month. The second, third, and fourth month, I made a little bit of money, but it wasn't the money I was making at AT&T. And I asked myself, what did I do? Why did I leave? But because I was about numbers, and because I knew Rodney and Pam were being very transparent, I seen all these other people doing it. I just kept pushing, and I thank God I did, because I would not be where I'm at today. This is not a short-term decision. It's not going to happen overnight. Could it happen overnight? It could for some, but most likely the average and the majority, it won't. This is a long-term haul for you if you want to get to where you want to get to. If you want to get to that 6-figure and then 200 and 300,000, it took me a while. And remember, I came up in the beginning where we didn't have the experience that you guys are getting now, the education that you're getting. It may sound funny. It may not sound right. It's not happening. You don't know what you're talking about. But I challenge all of you, and I'm challenged the ones who even been here, to go back to the basics, to be consistent, to follow every lead that we tell you to do. Every conversation, whatever it may be, that's what we're asking you to do. So I'm gonna give you guys an analogy. And this is what some of us who are been here a while, who are struggling, and the new people. All we ask is for you to show up again, start over, go back to kindergarten, and do exactly what we said. So here's an analogy. Think about you as a waiter or a waitress. You're in a restaurant, right? You're a waiter and a waitress. What do you do all day? You go up to the table as the clients come in. You introduce yourself. This is Shamika. I'm gonna be your waitress tonight. You may take their drink order at that time, or you may tell them you're going to come back, right? You come back, you take their drink order. You ask them, are they ready to order their food? They tell you what they want, you write it down, you go put the order in. You come back and collect the check when it's time. If you did well in your customer service and all that, you may get a tip. They may be cheap, whatever it may be. And you do that over and over and over again all day long. You're just taking orders, keep on taking orders. And then eventually somebody's going to ask you, Shamika, I don't know, I can't decide. I want the steak or the fish. Which one do you recommend? Now you start recommending. You may have had it. You may say, well, I had the steak. The steak is really good. You want to get that. That's prime cut. You want to get the steak. I'm recommending now. Or you may not have had any, but now you're going to use an example of, well, you know, most of the clients that come in or customers that come in, they order the fish. And this seems to go well. They always order that. So now you're recommending. But at the end of the day, you're taking table after table and customer after customer. All you're doing is taking orders. Okay, that's what a waiter or waitress does. It's the same thing when you're new on the phone. It's the same thing when if you're not able to close and your skills, maybe you got went off the wrong road and you need to come back to basics. What you need to do is take orders all day. If you're calling, we need to do, I know we've been saying 80 to 100 calls, but if you're a full-time, and full-time is mindset, if you're working 4 hours and you say, I'm gonna work 4 hours, you need to work those 4 hours. Not say I'm working from 2 to 6 and I call about 20 calls and then I take a break and I get on my cell phone and I'm talking to a friend, or I'm in the kitchen and grab me something to eat, or whatever it may be. I need to work those 4 hours. Now, if I need to take a 15-minute, because if you were at a job and you were punching the clock and you work 4 hours, some jobs may give you a 30-minute break, some just give you a 15 or 20-minute break, and that's all you get. You're working. You are the employer and the employee of your business. What are you going to require as the employer of your employee? I need you guys to start thinking in this mindset, because if I need to get paid, if I'm an employee, if I need to get paid, I got to do my work, because the employer is watching me. And if I don't, guess what? They're going to cut my time. They're going to write me up. They're going to send me home, and they're going to terminate me. So what are you going to do with your employer? What does your job require of you? If it's 4 hours, it is, when someone tells me, and I had a few people tell me this before, I'm not saying any names. Oh, yeah, Cherie, I did 100 calls. Oh, okay, great. And I've been working from 10 o'clock to 8 o'clock and you made 100 calls. Really? How many people did you talk to? I didn't really talk to anybody. I just left messages all day. So my mind says 100 calls, less than a minute message. You only leave one message a day. If you call 4 times, you might leave 2. How long does it take me to make 100 calls? Really? How long does it take me? A couple hours to do 100 calls today. It didn't take 8 hours to do 100 calls. So you got to, first of all, we got to be real with ourselves. How hard or how bad do you want to make money and make this opportunity work? Again, I said in the beginning, I believe that you're not here by chance. I don't believe nothing is by chance. This opportunity was open for you for a reason. We've been hearing, and I've been hearing for at least 5 years. Oh, Cherie, that's just you. I know you train and you don't make that many calls, but how are you writing this much? I'm doing it because I took the basics. I was where you was. Bree was where you was. Deb was where you was. Shamika, Jeff, Clyde, all these people, Gabe, were where you guys are right now. And even though I'm talking about even the ones who've been here 3 and 4 years, they were where you were. It's up to you if you want to get across that. So what does that look like? A lot of times we look at everyone that's posting. So we post ourselves and put ourselves competitive against that person instead of ourselves. Everybody learns on a different level. Find out where your level is. Your level may be kindergarten. Somebody's level may be 6th grade, and somebody's level maybe they're already a senior, get ready to graduate, or they're over that. But the competition starts with you. What am I looking at? I need to be able to convert. Conversion, chase the app, not the production. If I have 10 leads, set yourself at, I need to close. If you're brand new, I want to close at least one or two out that 10 leads. You got to fight for it. Not, I called the 10 leads, Jeff, and I left messages for 2 days. I need more leads. Did you work the lead or did you just call the lead? You called the lead for 2 days or you worked the lead? There's a difference. Leads, I say this to everybody, and I know Deb and Shamika, and they probably heard me, and Jeff, you haven't, and I know Magdalene, you heard me in training. You have not called or worked the lead unless you call at least 75 times and you still haven't worked it. Because here's the deal, I paid for it. Whether it was $25, $34, $37.50, until I get a disposition on that lead, I ain't worked it. And what do I mean by disposition? I either need a yes or a no, a hard no. For it to not call me tomorrow. I'm thinking about it. Call that. I haven't dispositioned that lead. Either has to be sold or not. If no one ever answered the phone, it still hasn't been dispositioned, and I paid for it. I may get a couple sales down the road, but I need to go back to them leads. Now, when you get here 3 and 4 years, you got 5-10,000 leads. There's no way to work all those. But being new in the first 90 to 6 months, you should be working your leads over and over again. If I get 20 leads today, I'm gonna call them. And while I'm waiting to recall them, and maybe in a couple hours, I'm bringing in the 20 leads I got last week, or the 10 leads I got, I'm calling them. Then I'm coming back to those 20 leads because I need to call them 4 times. Then I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna call those ones from the week before last or the week before that. And I'm gonna continue to call. Really what the game is right now, you guys, is just calling. That's all it is, taking orders, because I'm gonna tell you. And Shamika and Deb, Clyde, tell me if I'm wrong. How many times can you count since you've been here that you called a client and the client finally picked up and they just wanted the quotes and you qualified them, told them how much they want, and they said, oh, that $100 is good, and you didn't have to talk about nothing else, and you wrote them. Less than 10 minutes, already closing.
Yeah.
Meaning like we close them on the spot, like from that onset of talking to them?
Initial call.
I mean, it's rare that we do it on the spot, like right then and there. It's kind of like through the follow-up process for the most part.
Anyone else, Shamika and Deb? Because I get it a lot.
Well, I do, most of the time it is follow-up. I do send pre-approach letters where they'll call me, or sometimes they're ready. But a lot of the time it is follow-up.
So Clyde and Deb, what you're saying is you never got anyone on the phone right then and there and closed
Oh,
them.
no, no, no.
Oh, no,
I have.
no.
I have.
Oh, that's what
yeah,
I'm asking.
Okay, yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah.
No, but the process is you kept calling, and maybe it was the first set around, but if you kept calling, then all of a sudden they answered and they were looking for coverage. You went through the spiel, you qualified them. You told them, hey, let me give you 3 quotes, 15, 12, and 10. And they say, okay, 15, or they may say, well, how much is 20? And then they're ready to buy. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because we do it on transfers, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm talking about the first conversation. So it does happen. But there are times, of course, when we have to follow up with, like you said, second approach, or you got to set up an appointment and they want you to call them back next week. We get those as well. But what I'm saying is, if you keep calling, and let's say, Clyde, you just haven't got the person on the phone, but I'm saying every now and then someone's going to answer the phone finally. Whoo, you went over the process and you're able to close them, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So when I'm going back to the calling game, I'm just saying that in order to get there, I'm talking about the people who are not skilled yet. See, we're little skilled because we've been here longer. So we kind of know how to overcome. But even the skillful, Clyde, Deb, Shamika, Jeff, and several people on here and in other agency or other teams still get follow-up. I still get no. The difference with me, when I get no, they're gonna have to tell me why they're telling me no. See, a lot of us will get no, and okay, well, you want me to follow up with you next week? Or the client says, well, let me think about it. Can you call me in next month? All of us get that, right? So really when I say go back to basics, are we just saying, okay, I'll call you. What do you want me to call you next month? On the beginning of the month? Or yeah, I get paid around the 3rd. I'll think about it though. Give me a call. And you set an appointment, or the client's telling you to set the appointment. I need to know why I'm calling you next month. Now, I understand being new, especially the new people. We're going to be a little fearful because we're not confident. But how do we get confident? The more calls you make, it's going to give you the confidence. The more no's you get, and I know we don't want no, it's going to make you fight if you're the one to fight back. Because think about it this way. All these people and these thousands of leads we get, and you may get whatever, you start out maybe 10 a week, and then you work yourself up to 20 a week. Everybody isn't reaching out to Lincoln and nobody wants anything. We have to understand and be able to talk to the client to find out what is their needs. What are their wants? Are we going in as a seller or are we going in as an educator? There's a difference. I never go on a call in sell mode, always in education mode. Because when you educate someone, you got them. When you're talking about a client, the only client that I'm gonna say for me, only clients that I let them that are shopping, I kind of let them, I give them a couple things. I'll tell them about FCGS and stuff like that. And they said they're shopping. I let them go shop. Why? I'm giving them 2 questions to ask. We understand that Lincoln is the #1 final expense company in the United States. It can be proven. It's not just something, because most companies say we're the #1. No, we are the #1. Why are we #1? Do you know that? Do we know Lincoln's story? Do we know FCGS story? Do we know UBI, Universal Benefits story? Do we know the stories, or are we just selling? Because how are you going to educate if you don't know? So educate yourself. If you have not, I tell everybody that comes on my team, they must, before in my training, they must call the FCGS department on their own. I won't even talk about it till everybody's done it. I need them to call, and I need them to find out. And maybe some people who've been here may need to call again. If you're not good at explaining that, you need to call and let them explain to you what they do for the clients. And you need to find 1 or 2 things that you like. Not what Deb tells Sandra, this is what you need to say about FCGS. No, what Deb liked about it that really stuck out, even though it's great on everything that they do, a couple things may stick out to Sandra that she really likes versus what Deb liked. You're going to talk confident and you'll be able to educate more because you're talking about the things that you like about FCGS. I say the same exact things on every single call, no matter who I'm talking to, because of the things that I like. And I talk powerful, and it's almost like I'm sitting in my chair when I'm talking about it because I love it. I love what they do for clients. Does your client know that? When they're talking about going to another company or they're shopping, do they know what we offer? It's not about the price. I know that Willie used to always say, and it's the truth, if you think what we do is expensive, then the client will think that too. Let that sink in. If you think that our prices are expensive, you will make sure the client knows it's expensive. So do you think that? And if you do think that, I will be talking to my upline to find out why we're not expensive. We're not the most expensive and we're not the cheapest. We're right in there where it needs to be. And it's not about the extra benefits Lincoln does. Lincoln just does that anyway. If you've been in insurance, you know terminal illness, insurance companies charge for that. That's a rider. And it cancels at 65. You remember your tests that you took to get your license. Who gives it for free and first day when the policy's issued? You got to wait 2 years for other insurance companies, and it cancels 65. How can an 80-year-old call in and get terminal illness for free? And they go to the doctor in 2 weeks after the policy's issued, and they, in less than 12 months to live, was nothing wrong with them, and they can take half their money right now to do whatever they need to do. Who offers that? Do you know that? Do you know how to explain that to a client? Do you know why Lincoln is number one? Do you know that it's family owned? It's not public. That's why we can offer all these different things. Do you know that even the president on down to his father and the grandfather that started it were agents? That they understand what we go through as agents. That Alex London got trained by yours truly, Rodney Richburg. Had to ride in the field, had to go into the dirty, nasty house, had to write an application, had to learn how to do that to be the president. In order to be, even though it was a done deal, he could not just become. When his dad died, he was still in training. Doug Turner and Norman Beasley, they were running it while he was in training. Do we know all this? It makes you stand up a little bit more for the company, that they care enough about you and the client. But getting back to calls, feeling defeated, it's okay. It's okay that no one answers the phone today. After you made 80 calls, nobody answered the phone. You're wore out. It's normal. It's okay that everyone that did pick up the phone because I'm new or I've been out of the game and nothing's been happening for me, that they tell you no, and your presentation was all, it's okay, that's normal. It's okay that, oh, everybody around me seems to be posted and I can't get nothing. And I gotta be the cheerleader, but I really don't want to cheer them on because it's not happening. It's okay, that's normal. Because it's not gonna be that way forever. But it's okay to go through that, especially in the beginning, because you will go through it again. 3 years from now, when you've been selling 15, 20, 25, 30,000, probably consecutively for 5 months, then all of a sudden, the next month you got 5,000, you can't buy or sell. It won't bother you as much. So you got to go through. It's always a test, but always remember the test that you pass, you don't have to take that test again because you already passed it. Just like in school, when you pass to the 7th grade from 6th grade, you don't have to go back to 6th grade. You've already did all that. So are you going to go through some of the challenges that you went through in 6th grade? Yeah, but it should be a little bit easier because I already hit this challenge. I just got to keep going because I'm trying to get to 8th grade. So I got to keep calling. If you're calling 100 calls a day, maybe you need to call 125 now. If you're calling 150, maybe you need to go to 175. Why? I got to keep in my mind about converting. If I'm getting 10 leads, I know for me, if I'm new, I need to close at least 2 of those. I don't know if the leads or the sales are going to come from the 10 leads I got today. It may come from the 10 leads I got last week, but I know if I got 10, I need to get to 20, then eventually work up to 30%. Average, when you're good, is 28 to 35% closing ratio. Some people may go over this month, Claude, Shamika, Deb. Some may fall under this month, Claude, Shamika, Deb. It happens to all of us. Right now, it may be hard to believe, but believe in your upline, believe in the management that is training you until you can get your own belief. One thing Rodney used to say to me when I first came in full time and it wasn't happening, I was like, one day it started happening for me. I was like, oh man, oh shoot. Okay, now I get it, Rodney, I believe. And Rodney would say, you don't believe yet. Like, are you crazy? I just made $3,000 in the last 2 days. Nope, you don't believe yet, Sheree. And I never would get it. I didn't understand. So I stopped saying it, but I already knew. But the day it took me to really believe, I was 3 years in. When I took home, I had 18,000 I made, and I took home, I had a $5,000 lead that I took $13,000. That's what I believe. It took 3 years in. My pay through, I got it to like 5,000, 3 years. Now, there's people here paid through getting up to 3,000 to 4,000 in a year. And back then it took me 3 years to get to 5,000, guaranteed. So we've come a long way. It's what do you want? Now, I don't know, Claude, and you could probably answer this because you guys talk to people individual about their goals. But if you're only looking at, If they're only looking at getting $1,000 a week or $1,500 and they're happy, they're not gonna do that much. I'm just being transparent. I ain't calling nobody names. But if you're telling me you want 10, 15, 20,000 a month, then I know you're gonna work, because it's gonna take work. But if you only need 1,000, shoot, I tell people that come in on my team, oh, you can go in the field. You can make that at 1 or 2 sales. You can go to a house and get that. Over the phone, in order for this to work, you got to have the leads and you got to work them. Let's just be real. Clyde and Jeff management, they want you to do well. They want you to get the leads. However, if you're not going to work them, I can't give you no leads. And if you're not going to work them the way that I asked you to work them, because I want you to do well, because really at the end of the day, if you will leave and this don't work for you, guess who got to pay it? I got to pay that debt, because you're probably not going to pay it, just being real. So our goal is to make sure you're doing well and you get to 6 figures and then 200 and 300,000. That's where we want you to get to. So it's going to just depend on you. We got to look back in the mirror. We got to go back to mindset. I'll be glad, Jeff and Clyde, when we get back to mind your business calls and back to the agency training. We do our individual, but all these people posting, why that can't be you? Because they're not going to do nothing different that they're getting trained or got trained the same way that we're training you. Actually, you're probably getting extra than what they got. So if you, and I'm just being real, because we're adults. And I'm pretty sure when you go through training with Shamika and Deb and Jeff and Claude and whoever else you guys got help training, you got to follow their lead. You got to make the calls. You got to get the leads. You got to continue to work them. Because when they start shutting you down, it's not personal. You're not working the lead. If I call you, Deb, and you had 10 leads today and I knew the names, I should be able to say, if it's the end of the day, I should be able to say, okay, Deb, what happened with Mr. Williams? And you should be able to haul off. Oh, I called him 2 times, Cherie, and he didn't answer the phone. What happened with Miss Smith? Well, Miss Smith answered, but she was at work. I'm supposed to call her back at 6. I should be able to hear that all day long. That tells me you're in business. You shouldn't have to look up and say, well, let me count how many calls I made today. You should haul off, oh, shoot, I've been working nonstop. I don't even know how many calls I made. I've been working from 10 to 3. I don't know. I know I probably went over 100 because I didn't really talk to anyone. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, I made 50 calls today. Then you're focused on the call volume instead of trying to get the client on the phone. Now, and then I'm going to open up for questions. And Clyde, if you want to add or anything else you want me to talk about, but let me say this. I don't know everyone's schedule. Okay. How do you work leads? I got a call in the morning. I got a call at the 8 o'clock mark, 8 to 10, 8 to 11 is crucial. I got a call early afternoon. I got a call late afternoon, and I got the call in the evening. The same leads. Okay. Now, if you're not full-time, it could still work for you. Okay. Now, some people will work just the evening. They may catch the younger people. Okay. That got off work, but you still are missing out if you're not able to put any morning. So eventually, once you can transition, or you may work morning, you can't work evenings, whatever it may be, you can still get there if you constantly work that time, but eventually you got to try to fit that in. You got to fit in the evening. If it's one evening a week, I can do one evening a week, but I'm doing all morning, afternoon. You got to fit it in because you're missing out. You got your clients that wake up real early, seniors. They go to bed 4 or 5, they eat dinner at 3, and they're out at 6 or 7, and they're up real early, that 8 o'clock call. Then you have people who get off work, and you know the states we live in. Traffic is ridiculous. They get off at 4 or 5. They probably not getting home till about 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then they got to get something to eat. So I got to be able to call sometime between that 6 and 8 o'clock mark. And then you got your afternoon people who are singers. Maybe you miss them in the morning. They home. They may be cooking dinner or whatever, and you catch them. You got to be able to break that day up as well. But however, if you're working and you say my time is 3 to 7, work 3 to 7, not 3 to 3:30, take 15 minutes and then you're back on at 4 and you work 4 to 4:30. I'm just telling you guys how to do it. Basically, going back to basics, just making calls all day long, talking to people, being okay with being okay being all over the place with my presentation, because it won't always be like that. If you go get hired at a job, what do you have to do? You got to follow whoever and you got to learn what you're going to do. Are you going to learn it overnight? Are you going to learn it in a week? And they may let you go, but you're still going to be asking 50 million questions. And so if you're not asking, and Jeff and Clyde, I'm going to say this, if they're not asking you any questions and they just got out of training, they're on the phone, there's an issue. We want them to show up to every meeting and every training that we do. But if you're not asking me any questions, I don't care if you have 25 years of life insurance experience, you don't have 25 years of Lincoln experience, is different. And I had to learn that when I came here. If I didn't put aside, I was a great seller at AT&T. They didn't want me leaving the floor. They wanted me because, Cherie will get the cell phones. There's 100 people in this center, but we need cell phones. You come to me. I just offered. I wasn't no different than anyone else. I offered on every single call. And I didn't offer a flip phone to a senior. Why? I need you guys to think about this insurance. I'm not going to offer a flip phone to a senior because when they go home with when they get the flip phone in the mail, guess what? The children and the grandchildren say, Grandma, why you get that flip phone? You can't even play games or you can't look at GPS or nothing. And what do? Charge back. They send it back. I never sold a flip phone. I sold a low grade smartphone. I didn't sell the expensive one, but I knew it was going to be back on the shelf. That's why I never really had chargebacks on cell phones. So if I'm selling a client, and this is another thing we do, client comes on the phone. I'm just letting you know, I'm on a fixed income. I'm on a budget. I want to get $800 a month. Okay, what were you looking for? Were you looking for a traditional burial or cremation? I want a traditional burial. It costs 10 to 15,000 is the average cost for traditional burial. But because they told you they were on a fixed income, what do? We give them $5,000 or $6,000 in coverage because we were fearful that they won't be able to afford the 10 to 15,000. If you need a traditional burial, I don't care what the cost is. I'm going to quote you 15, 12, and 10. If it's too high, now I'm coming down. Now I'm securing that I will be your personal agent. Now I'm telling that most of my clients sign up with what they can afford and you can add more in another year or two. Or Cherie, you may just call me in a year and say, I can afford $20 more and we're going to add that. And we're going to work your way up. Because at the end of the day, Miss Sandra, if God forbid something happened to you tonight, who's going to take care of your final arrangements? Now, would you rather your children come up with 5,000 or 12,000? Because all they can afford is 7. And I get quiet. Let them pick. Which one do you want to come up with? I'm not saying, and it works, don't get me wrong, because you got to find your voice in this presentation, because some people will just say it's better to have something than nothing. And that's fine, because that works for several people in their tone. My tone's I just do a little different. That's why you got to find your voice in this presentation. It's just structure. And I just say it that way, because I'm just real clear. Be okay to be transparent professionally, of course, great tone, and just ask and be direct with the client, because if the client's already telling you no, what's the worst thing that can happen after I overcome and say those type of things? They're going to tell me no again. So they already was telling me no, but if I just let it go, I need to flip it to a yes, because I didn't say anything. I just let it go. Because I paid for the lead. I'm not trying to give free money away. I know that I'm not going to close every single lead I get, but I need to close enough and convert enough to make up for the lead charge and pay me and build my pay through and get my production. And the only way I'm going to do that in the beginning is making calls. So, is there any questions? Or anything, or Claude or Jeff, is there anything else you wanted me to go over?
Well, no, that was powerful. My goodness. If we could all just go back to kindergarten, and just be open to realizing that we have to start from scratch on this system. But I'm not even going to elaborate on what you said. You nailed it. Great presentation. I'm glad we got it recorded. And what I'd like to do, we have about 15 minutes or so. Even if we need to go a little bit over, not too much, but I want to open up the floor. Any agents have any questions directly for Cherie about anything she discussed, or even if you want to share some of the things that you're going through now, definitely utilize this platform, and I want to open it up for some questions.
And before they do that, I want to say one more thing. I'm saying all this, and it may sound powerful, but it's just real. Because let me tell you guys this, and I know Jeff and Claude, and even Shamika and Deb, because I know they've been doing some training, can attest to this. I even had to make the decision to go back to basics. I'm gonna tell you why. Even though I know, and it's not bragging, my skills may be because I just been doing it. It's not because I'm better. I just been doing it longer. I just know everybody, a client that gives me an objection, it's the same objection. There's not that many. The price is too much, not right now. I got to talk to this person. It's the same ones, it's just different voices saying it in their way. I have to, because now that I'm training on a massive level again, I don't have enough hours in the day, or do I? I have to go back to basic because I'm trying to get back. I know I'm not trying to write 25, 30. I'm over that. 15 or 20 is good for me in my position, because my goal is to bring out some six figures on people on my team or whatever team. I have to go back and say, okay, Cherie, did I make enough calls? And be honest with you guys, I hadn't been making enough calls, because even though I'm training, I can make more calls than I'm making. So I got to go back to basics. I got to add in back up to, I may not have to do 80 to 100. I just need to get me 5 to 10 people on the phone. That's all I need. That's just my confidence level. Everybody has to have that. If I can get one, they finna write. Oh, they finna write. That's just my mindset. I'm getting ready to close me. I'm not getting up from this desk until I write. And that's just my mindset. And I have to go back. Even in where people may say, oh, Cherie, you're skilled, you're good at, I have to go back to basics as well. I got to put in more calls because I don't have the time like a lot of people have to do it. So I got to make it happen. I can't be tired, because until I get to 20, 25,000 in pay through, and I don't know if I'm gonna stop then, I'm gonna always write. Everybody knows the management here are not overwrite king and queens. We write ourselves, because there's no way y'all can pay us enough. That ain't gonna work for me. Unless you're writing $1 million, my team writing $1 million a month, I'll never have enough. So any questions from anybody?
Hey, Cherie,
Be real.
Hey, Cherie, it's Carlos. How you doing, Cherie?
Hey, Carlos.
Listen, I know that you talked about this before, but when a client tells you that they're shopping, what are the 2 questions that you ask? Can you refresh my memory, please?
If someone tells me they're looking at I don't fight them. What I say to them is, okay, I definitely understand that you need to get the right thing for you and your family. But let me give you a couple questions to ask. First question, because we know a lot of companies do not do first aid coverage, whether you're healthy or not. So the first question is, if I'm paying $50 today, and God forbid I pass next week, how much you going to send my beneficiary? And get quiet. Tell the client to get quiet. Why am I telling the client to get quiet? Don't overtalk, because majority of agents at other companies, and if some of you guys been to other companies, when you tell a client, oh, it starts when you make the payment, what are you really saying? You're saying the policy takes effect, which is true. Every policy takes effect, even a modified client, the day they make the payment. But when does the benefits take effect? So I tell a client to say, if I make my payment today, because they told me it start right away, what happens to me If I pass next week, how much you gonna send my beneficiary? That agent, that's a direct question. If they start talking, I tell the client, they start talking around the corner and all, then you already know. They're either gonna say, majority of the time, they're gonna say, oh, we're gonna send the payment back. Now you know you don't have first aid, because a lot of people tell me, oh no, the client, and we already know they're not immediate. The second question is, Mr. Client, now tell them when your payment is $50, because there are some whole life companies that go up every 5 years, and we all are aware of what that company is, and there's others. How much will it be when I'm 89? And I tell the client, get quiet. The reason why I picked number 89, because most companies don't write after 80 or 85. And I want you to make sure you pick a number after that, because if it gets too high on you and it's too expensive, you cancel. Now you can't get any more because you're 85. Because you can't afford it. And nobody else is going to write you because you're over the age. Now we do know, and you can talk to your uplines if you don't know, but there are a couple whole life companies. They go up every 5 years. They cancel when you're 80, and they're supposed to be whole life. So if it's whole life, we know what whole life is supposed to be. There is only one other company that is close to us that we could not figure out. And how we figure out is through clients, Gerber. Gerber does want first day coverage. However, they only do a percentage. So if you get 20,000 and God forbid you pass 6 months, they will pay a percentage. You have to be with them 2 years to get the whole 20,000. You won't get the whole thing. It's a portion. So you got to understand your competitors as well. So those are the two questions, Carlos. It works for me. And I let the client go. I get clients, I'll set up appointment for follow-up. They call me prior to. I can honestly say in 7 years, and I always tell everybody because it's the truth, only 2 people never called me back. When I have, especially web, think about the lead you're looking at. If I'm looking at a web lead or a transfer or whatever, they are shopping. They're shoppers. They're looking for the best price. But the client don't know, they don't need to look for the best price. They need to look for the best company that's going to give them everything in their family needs. FCGS, terminal illness, less than 24 hours, personal agent. There's a whole bunch of benefits. Do not give all the benefits up front. Do not do what field agents do. And Claude and Jeff and Carlos and Deb, they can account for this. You give the whole, everything up front, then you write it down, and then you get them the pick, and they decide they want to think about it or no. Now you got to flip back to the chart. We're different over the phone. Save and only go over what you need to overcome that objection.
Thanks, Sheree.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Sheree Eva, how you doing?
Hey, Miss Eva.
Hi. How many times should you call in a day? One lead.
Minimum 3 to 4 times a day. Now, let me
And
say this.
that's because when I call, I double or triple tap. So that's doing double and triple tap 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah. Throughout the day. Now, a
Throughout the
CC
day.
lead, let me tell you about CC lead. Honestly, you guys, on the CC leads, you need to call them 7 to 8 times. You don't leave a message every time. You should be calling them as you get those 7 to 8 times a day. And I'm going to tell you why. It may sound crazy. Again, I just said it. Carlos just asked me. They're shopping. So we understand that web leads, people are shopping. Now, there are people who reach out just to Lincoln only, but you're not going to be able to know per se on a live transfer or the CC leads unless you're looking. They may be just clicked on a whole bunch. That's a race. So I'm calling them 7 or 8 times a day. I'm not leaving 7 or 8 messages because now you're harassing me. I am doing the double dial, Eva. I don't do every single lead. If you choose to do that, that's fine. I just pick maybe top 5. I'm gonna dial 2 to 3 times back to back. I had one lead. I dialed her 7 times. She kept answering the phone and hang up. Answer the phone. She kept answering, so I kept calling. Then I finally, when the 7th time, I just said it real fast. This is Sheree. I'm calling from Lincoln Heritage Funeral Van. I said it real quick. And she said, oh, I said, you thought I was a telemarketer, didn't you? And she said, yeah, we just laughed it out. I said, no, I know. I get those calls all day. I'm just letting you know I'm not a telemarketer. I'm just calling to give you the information you requested. I do it all the time. Because of it's worse than it was when I started. We had it back then, but now you guys gotta think about you. When you guys are on these calls and you're talking to clients, let's talk about the clients who are nasty. Because you get those. So the question I'm going to ask you, and I get it, and I'm getting it now. New agents are saying, oh, that client was real nasty with me. I don't think I even want them to be on the books. I'm going to tell you about a client, a real quick story. New agent called the client, was about the script. My name is such and such, calling from Lincoln Heritage Federal Advantage Program. Now the client answered the phone and said, hello? She's like, yeah, this is such and such with Lincoln Heritage. Is this the tow truck? She said, no, this is such and such, calling, you requested information, going through the script. The client told her, tore her a new one, let's put it that way, went off on her and hung up the phone. She calls me to tell me that what happened. I let her say the whole story that happened, and this is what I said. I said, so the client asked, were you a tow truck? And you kept talking. When do we become human? We're still human, right? If she's asking for a tow truck, she must be on the side of the road. We don't know if everybody's safe. Was it a car accident? Is there something I can do? Is it somebody I can call? It would have probably went over different. No, I'm fine. I got one. Okay, Miss Eva, I'm not gonna hold you up right now. I hope everything's okay. Be safe. I'm gonna follow with you in a couple days. It probably would have went different. So when you're talking to clients who are nasty and they want to cuss you out and don't cost my house and all of that and take me off the list, could it be that they woke up on the wrong side of the bed? Do we ever wake up and we just wake up, we just mad and we don't even know why? Because we have those days. Give them some grace. They're human. I don't know how many times I can tell you that if I would have just let it go, I would have lost out on sales. Call back a couple days later, maybe a week later, and the client's apologizing and letting me know they had a lot going on. Someone just died, whatever it may be. They lost their job. They know you're going to ask for money because they know they need it, but they just lost their job or they just had to pay out because their car broke down and they don't have any money. And we're going to ask for money. They reached out to you for a reason. And today just not be the day. So if someone is upset, I don't never get upset. I'm not saying tolerate getting cussed out. Miss Client, I'm hoping that everything goes well. I'm gonna follow up with you. May have to end the call if they're going like that, but always show that. It will go over well. Now you're gonna have those ones that's just who they are. But I ain't worried about those ones. I'm worried about the one that I can get on the phone and talk to. I think that's one of our issues as agents. We're so worried about no one picking up the phone and all the no's I'm getting. We don't keep focusing on the one yes that I got. I got a new person on the phone, new presentation, new time, new conversation, new education. I need to get that person that I have right now. I can't worry about what happened the last 2 hours. But right now, I'm excited and I'm gonna keep going until I get that person, if that makes sense. All I'm
Yes,
talking
it
to you
does.
guys is mindset. Where is your mindset? What do you want to do? There is not people here making money and you can't do it. So the question I would ask, if you've been here a while, is ask myself, did I do everything that my upline told me to do? Or did I, and then I felt like it wasn't working, so I went off into my own? Am I working the hours that it takes? Am I making the calls that it requires? Am I doing that? Because we can't say it don't work, because if it didn't work, I wouldn't be here. Because I promise you, I wouldn't be here. But I had to give it some time. Niambe wouldn't be here. Jeff wouldn't be here. Clyde wouldn't be here. Shamika we would not be here. I'm just saying. But I'm gonna quit talking because you guys know it. People who know me, I can talk a lot. So any other questions? Give me direct questions, hard questions.
Hi, Sherry. This is Lisa Blackman. First, I have to say thank you so much for all that wonderful, nice, juicy information. It resonated so well in my spirit. But I have a question in reference to the phone calls. When you initially make a call and it goes straight into voicemail, and you are consistently calling that call, you send a text, you send an email, but you have been constantly calling, but it goes straight into voicemail. What's the next step with that
I
call?
keep it moving and I'll keep trying that from time to time. I move to the next one.
So do you give it a rest like a week or 2 weeks or a month or?
It depends. If I get it this week, let's say I got them this week, I'm working them all week and into next week, because when I get my next 10 or 15 or 20 next week, I still need to work last week. So now I have 40. I need to call them 3 to 4 times still, not just 20. In the beginning, when you start out, you don't really have a bank of leads. So you may only end up getting 10. You're calling them, but don't seem to be working. But me, and I know Jeff and Clyde will feel the same way. There's 2 things. If you're calling, they know you're working all day and you're trying and you're having a hard time overcoming. They're probably gonna, we know in the beginning you need activity. But if you're not working them and you're not overcoming the way that I'm advising you, you're doing this your own crazy way, I'm not going to trust you. If it comes down to it, if it really comes down to it, if I got to get on the phone and you have to listen more to me or Deb or Shamika, who is doing well, it could be either education or it could be if no one's answering the phone, I just need to keep calling, because everyone's not going to not answer the phone, Miss Lisa. They're going to eventually. I can't worry about that one. Just like the ones that have no numbers. All I can do is do a second approach letter if I'm able to, or send something in the mail. And I just stack my stuff up. I do it once a month. I used to do it like every day I got one. I need to get on the phone and keep calling what I have, because everyone is not going to voicemail. That's 1. That might be 5. But if you have 100 or 200 leads, somebody's answering because you're posting, and you have to keep calling. Just like Claude said earlier, and Deb said, sometimes I have to follow up. There are going to be those ones too, probably more follow-up than the ones on the spot, but as long as I get my money's worth out of that lead I pay for. But I don't worry so much about that 1 or 2. I don't worry about the no's, because in my mind, oh, shoot, if I got 20 leads and I have to get 18 no's, let me get 18 so I get my 2 yeses at the end. That's just my mindset, because I know everybody didn't reach out to me to all tell me no. It'd be different if we were telemarketers, you guys, and we picked up a phone book and we're dialing. Of course, shoot, they weren't even looking for life insurance. You might get one person that might say yes. Oh yeah, I was like, but these people reached out to us. So I got to keep reaching out. So again, like I said in the beginning, until I talk to that lead one way or another, 75 times, and I still haven't worked it, I'm gonna call it. They're going to pick up. So look at your times. Are you calling every day between 8 and 10? Are you calling every day between the afternoon or the evening? Am I doing all 3? Maybe I need to focus on morning for the next 2 days or 3 days. Then I'm going to flip it to afternoon if I don't get them. Then I'm going to put them in my evening leads. So if I get 20 leads today, I'm just telling you how I do it. I get 20 leads. Right? And I'm going to call them 3-4 times in that day. But my leads from last week that I never got on, I'm going to say, okay, I started these new 20. I'm going to call my 15 or 10 last week I didn't get on the phone, and I'm going to call for the next 2 days in the morning with my new 20. Then on Wednesday, I'm probably going to flip to the afternoon with my same 20 I'm calling for that week. Then by the end of the week, I'm probably going to call. And then on a Saturday, y'all, Sunday. I'm not saying work every weekend, but Sunday, I don't know what it is. People I call in the afternoon after church. They answer the phone. Family's over there because the mom's cooking dinner. They answer the phone. They may not want to talk that day, but they answer the phone. And I can set an appointment. I'm just saying, if you're not doing that, Do one Sunday. I mean, what is 2 hours, one Sunday a month? Try it. On all them leads that never picked up, if you have not worked on a Sunday, just take a couple hours in the afternoon after the church hours. So I say around 2 or so, and just call them. The people that didn't pick up all week for whatever reason, because they probably think you're a telemarketer. Let's just go back to that. They're probably telemarketers don't call on Sunday. There might be one that slipped through, but for the most part, you don't really get them on Sunday. I'm just saying. How bad do you want to get your numbers? How bad do you want to get a close?
Are you asking me?
In general.
Oh, okay, okay.
And let me say this, I'm saying all this stuff and it may sound like, man, I'm not doing that. You ain't gonna have to do it forever.
Mm.
This is to help you get your skills up and get more sales. And I'm gonna tell you, I have a new thing. I asked my team, Jeff and Claude, I didn't ask for, last month, I didn't ask for no production go. I told everybody to do what works for them. I didn't want to know what it was. And at the end of the month, I just asked that whatever goal you put in your mind, that's what it was going to be. Okay. This month, I didn't ask for a production goal. I asked for app count. And it was crazy because I already had it in my mind and already asked for it. And then all of a sudden, Lincoln comes out with the app count. I didn't know about that before I asked for it. Chase an app. Don't chase the number. I think that's another thing, especially being new. How many apps can you think that you're going to close? And if you tell, I'm going to close two. That means you don't give up till you close two. But if you close them both on Monday, why would you stop working for the rest of the week? Let me go ahead and get two for on Tuesday or Wednesday for next week. I'm already ahead of the game. Next thing you know, your production is $10,000. Chase the app. New people. Convert. Don't wait for the easy stuff. Households, fantastic, great. Not enough to go around per team. There's not enough. There's not enough to go around. And if you focus on that, you'll never make your numbers. Don't wait for that. The sales in the lead that you have, sales in the direct mail leads, and they're in those web leads and those CC leads. Everyone's quiet. I think, Eric, you had a question?
Yeah, I want to ask you, I'm on a modified schedule now, but what's the best time in the mornings and the afternoons to call?
8 to 11 mark is a good time. This is the way it was pre-COVID. I know a lot of people are working from home, but sometimes they can't talk. 8 to 11, that 1 to, people still answer between that like 12 to 2 to 12 to 3. You still will, but I found, and everybody can just tell their story, and Claude and them, that early morning and that late night, and when I say late night, like 4 to 8, people are getting off work. You can catch them better. In the morning, you got the seniors up. They probably got back because they went got their senior coffee at McDonald's. Remember that. Remember how it used to be when you're out riding throughout the day, or in the morning, you were on the way to work. Excuse me. You always seen McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, all these were full of seniors because they were going to get the senior breakfast. They got senior coffee. That's where they would be. When I would be on the work 7:30, 8, there, that's where they at. Then they come home. Then they get and they watch Price is Right and their stories. So in the afternoon, you can catch some. Some go to senior citizen homes and play games. So you just got to kind of play with it. But that morning, that 8 o'clock, look at GroupMe. It's the same people posting because they're always working at 8 o'clock. So by 9 or so, they got sales. That 8 to 11 as a spark. And then that 4 to 8. Some people get off at 3:30. Some people get off at 4. But after that 2 o'clock, you got to fit it in. Even if you're just, and I know you're on a modified schedule, but if you can fit in, I don't know how many hours you're doing, but you fit in a couple hours in the morning, couple hours in the evening, constantly, consistently, it'll start happening for you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I know some of the new people have to have questions.
Sheree, Eva.
Yes, ma'am.
What's a good way to, because I got my first pay through in October.
Ooh,
Didn't
get it, girl.
anything in November. Don't know what I'm gonna get in December. My lead balance right now is about 600 and some dollars. What do I have to do to make sure I get my lead balance? So what system do I need to do?
I don't know, Jeff, if you want me
Not lead balance, but my.
to go over that now. 'cause if you have
Ain't nothing you're gonna say that hadn't been said. You just might have to
Okay.
repeat it, so that's fine.
So there's a lot of ways, and I have a couple people asking me that I'm going to be going over building your pay through and make sure you get it. Eva, what I do is, and if you're in position and you've been doing very well, if you're trying to build pay through, especially, I'm talking about two parts, getting rid of it. I may run some stuff 100%. Okay, I'm gonna run $600. That could be one sale. If you're getting $300, you don't really need the money. I run 100%. I have no debt. I get all my pay through. Okay. How do you build your pay through? I decide I get enough to make sure I pay my bills, right? First week or two. I don't really need the money because do I really need it or am I trying to build? Because at the end of the day, when you've been here long enough, you're not worried about no advance. You're worried about that pay through getting high enough to where it pays off your debt and you have some left. So what I do is I take my smaller advances after I got what I wanted in the beginning. I do those 100% towards debt, but my big ones, $800, whatever it may be, I'm running them pay as earn. I'm running them pay as earn. So they go towards my pay through and build it quicker. Okay. So if you don't need that $800 at the end of the month, because you already got what you need, run it, call new business and run it pay as earn. So the 800, it builds your pay through quicker than getting the advance. And you may not be ready for that, but that's what you want to look at in the future. Another way is, and I have a couple people who've done this, you drop your percentage. Okay, you're getting 75% after you go through those 20 and you're doing 60%, then you get to 75 down the road. You want to build your pay through a little quicker. It doesn't hurt you if you say, okay, you know what, Jeff, I don't want 75% advance. I want 70% advance. So it's only a 5% difference and it doesn't really eat you alive, right? Then after you do that for 3 or 4 months, now you drop the 65% advance. Then you go down and keep going down. A lot of people here, and I know Rodney and Jeff and all of them talk about my pay through. But if you look at my numbers compared to a lot of the agents or even management, Bree, Moses, they write me every month, right? They're always higher. My pay through is higher because of these things. Because I built it and I know that I am in train mode and I don't have the hours that they may have. And now they're training as well, but I built it to where I can now go 40% a month on every app, 40% advance. I don't need 75% advance. So that's how my pay through is growing quickly. I ended up the last 2 months, October, I didn't order any leads at all. I worked every lead because like I said, I had to go back to basics. I had all these leads I didn't really work because I was training and traveling and doing all this stuff. I had to go back and work those. So I wrote that based on old leads. Last month, I ended up with 0 again. November, I had 0. I have leads and I was running some stuff 100%. My pay through is high enough to pay off if I did have a debt. And I'm still gonna take home a significant amount of money because I only get a 40% advance. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. So if you're, so you have to call Lincoln and ask them to, like, because what I was thinking, like from the 10th to the 20th, because most of my bills come out in the early part of the month. So the 10th to the 20th, have them all everything that I make during that time go toward my lead balance.
Okay, I don't say that because something else may kick in there or something. What I do is either I have that months where I'll say, such and such client, Williams, I'm just making up names, Rogers, whatever, run those 100% towards my debt. Now, everything else for the rest of the month, I want those pay as earned. Or Eva, you can say, client so-and-so, it's easier because they have messed up. So you want to say this client, this client, this client, or you get all your money and just say for the rest of the month, I want you to run this pay as earned unless I call. And you can always call, you get a sale and you decide, well, you know what? I want this to go to my debt. Just call and say this one client, please do 100% repay to my debt. Now you can't say leads, it's going to be divided between leads and chargebacks. You got to say debt. They're not, even if you
Debt,
say leads,
okay.
they're going to divide it how they want to divide it, the debt.
Okay.
But to start out slow, I would either drop maybe 5% or just do a couple a month to see if you really can do it. I wouldn't say jump in with 2 feet because then you're going to need that money. And once it goes there, you can't do nothing with that. You can call and stop the rest of them from going. But if it was some big ones and you just kind of needed that, I would just play it by ear. Long as you call by that morning, I would say at least call by 12 our time and tell me you want to be 100% repay. And then I'm going to tell you sometimes, depending how that agent's talking, you might need to call back and confirm that it is, because they're human and sometimes they miss 1 or 2 and you get paid. And you'll be like, oh man, I wanted that 100% and you got paid. So yeah.
So it's best when you're doing the 100%, it's best to have the client's name on which one you want to do the 100%.
Yeah. Be looking
Okay.
at your production report and just tell them what client that you want to run 100% towards debt or 100% towards pay as earned. But here's the great thing about it. You never get a chargeback on that client. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are certain clients that I'm skeptical on. I'm running them pay as earned. I don't even want. If they've been on the books and they're on my last report, and even if they're not bad business because it's been over a year, I probably run them pay as earned. Because if they fall off, I don't want to pay the charge back.
Yeah.
So
you do that right after you write them?
I have done it. Yeah. When I write them, I'll upload it. And then I'll wait about 15, 20 minutes to make sure they got it. And then I'll just call it in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or I might wait for the end of the day. If it's immediate, I'm going to call definitely way before 5, because 5 is the cutoff.
Okay.
Even though sometimes they go a little over, because I've been noticing that, but I just keep in my mind 5 o'clock's the cutoff.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome.
And
Any other
real quick,
questions? I know we're past time.
Just want to add to that, Eva, and then just moving forward, that just communicate, because like Cherie is explaining, it was a process. You're gonna, no different than a presentation. You got to find your voice. You got to find what works for you in that 100% repay. What's going to go as earned. So just reach out to Upline so that way you're not in the dark, and just formulate a plan. You'll try certain things, and through that you'll find your process that works for you. Some agents do it from the 15th through the 30th. It works better for Cherie to call client by client. You see, and she had to learn what works best for her. Now, again, just to piggyback, she's at a 40% advance, you guys. Some of us are crying about the 75 or 60. She put herself on a 40% because she understands the game. 40% advance means 60% going to my pay through. I'm building my back end money even faster. So just wanted to just add to that. So you don't do it in the dark, Eva. If that's something in your mind, okay, get with me or Shamika. Let's formulate a plan and really, make sure that we're focusing on exactly what you want to see happen. And we've got the formula.
Exactly.
Okay,
I was gonna say that Get the formula, find out what your goal is to get your pay through, and there is a formula to figure out how much will go to your, to get your pay through to a certain amount. But
Okay.
don't put yourself in a bind.
Mhm.
I would recommend start slowly to see. Don't just jump out there and do a little bit. That's how I started.
Okay,
Rodney was telling me when I came in, Rodney was at 55% advance, and he told me what he was doing. So it took me a while, about 2 or 3 years, before I started doing what he did, 5% at a time. Now they're at 0, and that's my goal, to get to 0%. But I need my pay through a little bit higher. And then I'll be able, once I get there, I'll probably just drop all the way down.
you mean to have all your money going to your pay through?
Yep. I don't have to
Oh,
ever worry
okay.
about chargeback after 9 months, because once I start, and then everything, but I'm in position.
I'm quite sure.
Yeah. But I had to work to get there. I was where you were. So, but any other questions, anybody? It was great being on tonight. I appreciate
Great having you.
all your attention. I hope I was able to help you. Again, just it's your business at the end of the day. Lean on your leadership. Lean on the agents that have been going through the ups and downs, because there's nobody on here that can say they haven't been down and still have down days. Because I'm gonna tell you, September, I think I wrote 2,000, 3,000. And I'm gonna tell you, I got complacent. I'm just real talk. I'm real. I was training and traveling to New Jersey and traveling. I got drained and burnt out and got complacent, working from home, sitting in the chair. Let me go take a 15-minute break, turn into 2 hours. I had to get myself back in my mindset, because I can't get to 20,000 watching TV. I'm just being real. But then came back October with not one lead order and wrote 25,000. Why? Because I just sat down and put my head down. Because I had to make up. So what are you going to do? I just put my head down. You got to put your head down, whether you know anything or not, because you're not going to know everything. It's going to take a while. And if you think you know everything and you're not making it happen, then maybe we need to go back and act like we're in kindergarten and I don't know anything. I need to get with some of the teachers on here. A Jeff, a Claude, a Shamika, a Deb. Eva, what happened? Eva, you just came out the
I'm here.
woodwork and you're closing like every day. Monica Dunstan, what did you do that just all of a sudden now you're dropping them of 1 a day, 2 a day? It's like the confidence, I just see it. What happened?
Who you asking, me or Monica?
I'm asking both of you.
Oh, well, I did like you did, just put my head down, and I just got out. I just just got me out the way.
You just got you out the way, because you've been here how long now? About a year?
8 months.
8 months.
I came in April.
Miss Lisa, I'm talking about people that have been here. I'm talking about to the new people. And I get it, because I'm telling you, I've been there, and I just told you recently, and I've been here over going on 8 years. June will be 8 years for me. I'm sorry, August will be 8 years for me. It happens to all of us. I'm just saying, I'm just bringing this up. You guys just sit down and just make the calls. Be okay. Let it go through the process. Everything's a process to get to the next level.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Miss Sandra.
Hi, this has been wonderful. You've given me so much. I'm sure I'm not only speaking for myself, but a lot of wonderful, useful information. I'm definitely in kindergarten. I only started like in November. So,
Okay.
and I've gotten active with my calling in December. And I just know that I need to work, the leads I've called all 30 of the leads that I have 3, 4, 5 times. Some of them I was not able to reach. So I'll just, know I need to just keep calling them until I get somebody. But at what point do you just say, well, I've called this person 20 times in the last, you know, a month, but I'm still getting no answer. Is there any point that you decided, well, I'm going to just put that aside now? I think this is saturated, or you just don't even deal with that one anymore
No, I'm gonna keep calling until I get
until you
disposition.
get somebody.
So,
Okay.
again, like I said earlier, you haven't called a lead enough unless you called at least 75 times and you still haven't called it enough. So
Mhm.
really what I'm saying is, I know, and I don't know how long you've been here since November, so pay attention to group me.
Mhm.
Deb may put
I
up,
do. I look at all, oh my gosh, like you said, sometimes, like there was one day that I did put in more time than ever. I think it was like 2.5 to 3 hours. And I made, well, actually maybe 2 hours because I made just 34 calls. But I did get that feeling of feeling defeated, like you said. And I know in the early stages, a lot of agents probably go through that. But it's just about just, just keeping on and in the schedule. That's something else. You have to have a schedule. I think that's important, which is something I'm
Mhm.
working on now, to really stick to a schedule. I think like a couple of hours in the morning, a couple of hours in the evening. I could work that out. I am working full time. So
Mhm.
this is something I'm trying to work in my schedule, because I do work a full-time schedule.
So Sandra, give yourself some grace. You gotta give yourself some grace because you're in learning, okay? Calling 20 times in a week, if I'm calling them 4 times a day minimum, and then 4, 8, you're down to the 20 in 1 week, right? So 34 in the month of December, that's not enough. I know it doesn't seem like a lot because it's 30 and it seems like just burning up and they're not answering the phone. Look at it this way. If I invest in something, and right now you're investing in yourself, I don't even look at the lead charge or anything in the beginning, because I have to invest something to get something out of it. Invest in yourself, give yourself some grace, and continue to call those. Okay.
Now,
If you
some of these, I'm sorry, go ahead. Now,
No,
some
go
I've
ahead.
run into with the numbers not in service. So there are about 3 or 4 of those I have not in service.
Okay, so we have True People Search, so get with
Two
a
people search.
partner. And we have Second Approach Letter. Second Approach Letter, you get to put your name and your phone number.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when it go, and Lincoln sends out a brand new letter, refreshing it like it's brand new, but the agent to dial, instead of calling Lincoln, it will call you because it has your number as the agent and your phone number, your name and your phone number. So just work those as much as you can, even in around, because I've seen people do it all the time. They work 3 hours a day and they're putting down, at first maybe not, then they're putting down 1 or 2 sales, and then it starts giving you that little energy to where eventually, if you're planning on transition, I understand we don't tell you to quit any jobs. We tell you to keep on pushing, to put some money away and get comfortable, so the transition will be smoother and you know you're gonna make money. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, I have to find out about that second approach letter. I've not heard that before, so I will reach out to Shamika about that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll give Shamika. Shamika is great. And again, you guys, before I let you go, unless someone has another question, tone and manner is everything. You have to literally, that it may be cliche, but it has to be, you had me at hello. If I gotta know, I say make another call immediately. If I get a yes, make another call immediately. Do not get up from the seat. Now, after I make that next call and it was just a voicemail and you need to take a break, take it. But if you needed a break, you've been on the phone and you just got finished with a presentation and they told you no, make another call. Don't get up. If you closed it, make another call. Don't get up. Then get up if you need to take a break. There's a reason behind that. It's going back to psyche. If I'm working all day and someone finally got on the phone and I couldn't close it for whatever reason, I always make another call before I take a break. If I need to go to the restroom, I just hold it. I'm just saying. If I get a close, I always make one more call. So it doesn't get me complacent. Oh, I got to sell. Let me go and sit down for 2-3 hours. No, I need to keep working. So I always make another call. It just tells my mind, now I'm going to take a break, but I come back. So continue to call, give you guys some grace. Just call. I promise you will turn over. No one here is better than you. No one here is better than you. If you don't believe that, you're going to have a hard time in this group. They learned just like you. They were there. It may be like simple because Shamika is telling you, Sandra, what to say, and it sounds great. And she sounds so good because she has very good tone and manner with her clients. She can conversate, laugh. You will get there. But don't be intimidated because she was where you were. So was Deb. So was Eva. So was Lisa. I'm talking about people being here. Jeff and Clyde. We all been there. I've been there. Okay. So I know we're way past time. I don't want to keep you guys because you guys got to get up early to make them calls. But is any Shamika or Deb, did you guys want to add anything?
Yes, I want
Hey,
to.
who was that?
Sheldon.
Okay, go ahead, Sheldon.
Yeah, actually, I've been here about last year, November. It's not too long, same as Sandra. But I want to certainly say everything that you're saying, Jeff, certainly of pretty much you just kind of refresh and regurgitate a lot of what was said. And I have been making the calls, but a lot of important information about, the times to call. And I have gotten some calls, in terms of I'm not interested, have coverage. And I know part of it is getting back to, well, actually, I won't say getting back to it, but just getting more. I know Jeff already said you got to keep making the calls and going through the objections and all of that. So that's why I'm at, is really getting more educated as far as the rebuttals and as far as, I got a lot of not interested in have coverage. So also, I'm definitely going to call those back.
Yes, Sheldon, because I was going to say this. When they tell you not interested, what's your response?
Yeah, it's, and a lot of times it's like they're not interested and they hang up so quickly afterwards. And I'm not even able to even say anything to say, what do you had in mind at the time when you reached out to Lincoln or something like that. It's just quick. And
I need you to go back in your head, because a lot of times when we're getting that, our mindset goes, they do hang up quick, and you're telling the truth. It does happen sometimes, but a lot of times, if you really go back in your head, was it a dead silence and then a hang up, or did it just, you could even get it just immediate, not click, and that does happen, right? But in my mind, what are you not interested in? I didn't get to say anything. You reached out to me. I ain't calling you. You reached out to me, even though it reached out to the company, but I have the lead. So you reached out to me. Everybody cannot be reaching out, not interested. I'm telling you, yes, call back, because not interested means I don't have the money today. I don't have time to talk. Something's going on. I'm at where I'm gonna hang up. And sometimes, even though you say who you are, sometimes they still in their mind, you're a telemarketer, click. They think about it later, they don't call back, or they're gonna call back. So I'm always following up. Not interested is not good enough for me. I have not dispositioned that lead. Why aren't you interested when you just reached out yesterday, or you reached out last month, or you reached out, I don't care if it was 6 months ago. Why are you not interested? I want to know why. I'm gonna call back. They said not interested and hung up. And I promise you, some of those not interested, when you call back, watch they ready to talk to you, because they just got paid. They're in a better mood today. You caught them when they wasn't at work and watch they talk. Well, I just wanted to get rates. I was looking for this. So do not give up on not interested. Okay, but already have coverage.
Thank you.
I don't care if they have coverage, because you knew you had coverage when you sent this lead in. Or your child sent this lead in. That's my mindset. I'm looking at a lead that you sent in and I paid for it. And I'm here because I'm going to do my job. I'm going to educate you. So you telling me you have coverage means nothing to me. Because my mindset goes automatically. I heard what they said, but I'm moving on to why they reached out. So what did you have in mind when you reached out to me, to the company? What did you have in mind? Were you looking for a traditional burial cremation? I heard what they said, they already have coverage. I don't care about that. Because you knew you had coverage when you called me. And if you just got it, you knew that you reached out to a whole bunch of companies because you were shopping, and I was one of them. And even though you just wrote and bought yesterday, you need to hear what I have to offer. So what did you have in mind? Well, I've already taken care of that. Okay, so you got Lincoln Heritage. You got the Funeral Advantage program. Oh, you got the Funeral Consumer Guard Society that assists your beneficiary even when you're gone to make sure that they don't take advantage of? I'm asking them questions now, since you already took care of it. So that's what you got. Because I know that my company is the #1 company and we do more than any other insurance company. We do extra. I'm not bad mouthing an insurance company. I know what I do. I know that we can save your money. I know that other insurance companies, you're going to go through the process and you're going to get a check. If it takes 7 or 8 weeks to get it, that's all. You're not getting anyone that's going to call funeral homes for you. Then you're going to have anyone that's going to help your daughter at the work she's grieving, and even though she handles business well, that's going to speak on her behalf to make sure they don't take advantage of her. So that's why presentation is important, but you got to find your voice. When and what part of the presentation do I use at the time in that moment? Because they don't have my coverage. Why? So that's my mindset. Because again, what is the worst thing that can happen to me if I just say those things? They still come back and say, well, no, I don't need it because I already have coverage. But if I didn't try to get their attention about what we do different, I just lost it. I may just get them to say, wait a minute, you do what? You guys do all of that? Because I know when I talk to clients now, and even if I tell them after the fact, they love it. You're going to take care of my granddaughter or my daughter or son when I'm gone. You're going to make sure that doesn't happen. You guys are doing what? You're not just getting a check. I go in to educate. Oh, no problem. Or it's no problem. Oh, that's great that you took care of that. Make sure, just to give you a tip, Mr. Fields, that your son, when he goes in the funeral home, that he doesn't sign an assignment to the funeral director. Because you know what happens. Nowadays, the funeral directors are taking advantage. They got to get paid. Caskets, they're going to buy it wholesale and they're going to sell it 3, 4, 5,000 more than what they paid for it. Because, you know, with us, we make sure that doesn't happen. Am I piquing their interest now? Sheldon? I don't care about them telling me they have coverage already. They don't have my coverage. So that's my transition. I'm not going into, well, what do you have? How much did you get? I don't care about all that. I'm going into what I have to offer. That's going to be my transition. I'm talking something about FCGS. Okay, well, oh, great, Mr. Robinson. I'm glad you were able to take care of you and your family. I just want to, if you don't mind, I'm just going to give you a couple tips. Make sure I'm right in there. I'm not letting them talk yet. I'm not letting them say, okay. Make sure when your beneficiary or your children go in there, the family, that they make sure they don't sign. You're gonna get their attention because I'm educating them. I'm not talking about the sell. I'm talking about educating them. I'm gonna make them ask me questions. Now I'm gonna make them think about what they just bought. Now we're not in the business of replacing, but you're not really replacing. If they change their mind, it's recent. Now, if someone had it over 2 years, I'm telling them, because I have people that want to cancel. No, ma'am. I will be doing you a disservice, and any agent that tells you to cancel a policy and you're already covered are not doing you right. I know they get on your nerves, but you need to keep it. You invested. But if it's recent, I don't care about what they have. I'm just saying, I'm in education mode. So I'm hoping that helping. I know we can't be here all night because you guys
It
know
was
I can
helpful.
talk.
Very-
Listen, I know if it was up to the group, we would be here till 12 o'clock, but we are going to stop right here. We do want to cover some announcements. First, Cherie, I want to just thank you so much for taking your time and just really putting your heart out for the team, not even direct to you. And it just goes back to the support here. And just to show of hands, how many of you guys found this conversation helpful? How many of you got a little nugget or a little bit of extra energy to just
Absolutely.
keep going a little bit more? Maybe I had it wrong. Oh, shoot. I came in here thinking I already graduated. I need to go to kindergarten. I need to listen. I need to follow instructions and take orders, right? And some of you, this is the first time you heard some of this stuff. Man, why didn't they tell me it was like this? Some of you have heard it before because you've had extra conversations. So you can do it one or two ways. You can just plug in and hit it every once in a while. You might get another dynamic speaker 6 months from now, or you can listen to what we're saying in between the lines. You need to reach out after every call. Break it down so that now you can literally understand what that no really means or what that yes really means. Get the coaching. It will come from some of you feel like you're stuck in the initial lead process. You haven't had enough conversations with your upline yet. You still feel again, you haven't even gotten a disposition on the lead. You haven't learned the difference between calling and working a lead. There's a difference. Have the conversation. You're not getting on our nerves, and we hope you're not getting on yours. Okay. We want to help you. So again, thank you, Cherie. Claude, Deb, I'm not sure, are we doing announcements tonight, or we're doing a hard stop?
We're just gonna do a hard stop because I don't want to prolong, but just stay tuned to your group me so that we just announce some things in advance for trainings and things of that nature. Thank you, Cherie.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Great,
Thank you,
great,
everybody.
great. So
Happy New
hold
Year,
on,
everybody.
before we-
Happy New
Thanks,
Year.
Sheree. Awesome.
Hold
Awesome.
on,
you.
hold
I
on
will
one
see
second.
y'all
Thank you.
posting
Bless you.
this
Hold
week.
up.
Everybody.
Hold on one second. Hold on.
Monica,
We're gonna close in 2 minutes, guys. So we will close. Just a couple of things to keep in mind. Definitely make sure that you are here for the Tuesday night trainings. We're going to be having guest speakers all month long. This was just the first, so I mean, my goodness, I can't wait till next week. Don't forget Slight Edge every Sunday, 7:30 on the VO. For those of you that may still have some questions that need to be fielded, write them down. Let us know what those are, and we can either get you in contact with Cherie or we can address them ourselves. But let's just keep that going. I do appreciate you. And like always, some of you, this is your first time even on this particular Tuesday night call. One thing we always do is we do pray out and pray over our team and our success. So we're going to take the time and opportunity to do that. For those of you that's your first time, you do not need to feel the need to stay on if that's not something that resonates with you or your belief. We definitely understand and don't judge, but this is just how we end our Tuesday night calls. Miss Eva, would you just do the honors and